what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait and see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. Raise up a white flag. Didn't come this far just to turn back. The curtains fall for the last act. Breaking that levee, breaking that levee. We don't back down. This is what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait and see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. We don't back down. This is what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait and see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary.
I got metal running through my bones, a resurrection like a ghost. Hurricane, go ahead and blow. Where you could keep your white flag, I'll never fold. A shadow on a battlefield, a survivor, never yield. A thunder, go ahead and shade. Don't run from the storm when I feel the rain. There's no rest for the wicked, no victory for the weak. And when the weeds getting thicker, you'll never see me on my knees. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. I got a fever in my blood, a falling embers from above. I feel the heat when the pressure blows, a wildfire that you can't control. There's no rest for the wicked, no victory for the weak. And when the weeds getting thicker, you'll never see me on my knees. You can't control this, it's explosive. 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 You can't control this, it's explosive.
10 years of speed. 10 years of stories. For the past 10 years, we've been more than just spectators. We've been the heartbeat of local racing, growing alongside the tracks, drivers, and fans who make it all possible. From the dusty turns to the checkered flags, we've shared every triumph and every challenge, making memories that last a lifetime. As we mark this milestone, we're not just looking back, we're revving up for the future. We are expanding, bringing you even more racing, more coverage, and more ways to connect with the adrenaline-fueled world we love. Our commitment to the local racing community is unwavering, and the next chapter promises to be our most exciting yet.
Welcome back to LSRTV's coverage of the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series for round number 9 here in the Lone Star State down in Fort Worth, Texas from the Texas Motor Speedway. Good evening, everybody. Jason Rockfell alongside Wesley Outland up here in the booth, and Charles Wooten down in Texas claims it's his birthday race. Brody Hanna says not since his birthday's tomorrow, but we'll let Charles argue with Brody on that later. He'll be pushing all the buttons for us tonight, as always, here on LSR TV. And Charles and Wesley, it was a great race last week, man. Texas, really big sweeping corners. It can get single filed out, but this race can come down to strategy when it comes down to the end here, Wesley.
I don't know if you remember or not, but last week we were on the short track paperclip of Martinsville, and it was caution filled.
Yeah. That was
now we're on the mile and a half
eventful
of Texas. It was, yeah. So.
Yeah, and obviously Cody McKinney, and I only got to see about half of that race before my dang power went out, so I was able to catch the ending, though, the next day, so I was able to fill myself in. I saw Cody McKinney, despite some issues with himself. I know he was involved in a few wrecks somehow, some way. He managed to climb up through the pylon and obviously took home what would be his first win of the season, which is kind of a surprising thing, considering if you're a usual watcher here over for the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series, Cody McKinney won a ton of races last season. And so far in 2023, or rather, oh my gosh, 2023. Oh, let's not go back there. 2024A, he's only got one win, but right now, third up on the scoring pylon for practice here, Wesley. I mean, confidence and momentum is probably everything that you could have as a race car driver heading into the next race.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I will tell you this, I predict that we won't have 16 caution flags tonight. I hope we don't. At No Limits, Texas. This is a mile and a half. It's a fun racetrack. You think about the word precision banking here. They can go 2 wide. They can pop out and go 3 and 4 wide. Obviously, as qualifying is just getting ready to start on the 5-minute clock. I think we're going to see a very, very fun race here tonight, no doubt, at Texas this evening.
Yeah, we're getting ready to see some qualifying here. Just a second, qualifying just starting, so a few drivers coming out. Here's the number 3 machine of Brian Bliss. He finished last week in the 15th position. First car 1 lap down, and that Blackwater machine is looking to set a very fast pace for himself here tonight. No stats for him in the 2023 C race here, from what it looks like. And when you hop over to 2023A, nothing I'm seeing here. So this looks like it's going to be his first Texas race here for the Full Throttle Sim Racing Truck Series. See him cross the line right now to start up his first lap. And Wesley, it seems like every time we've seen a race at Texas, track position, as you see him hit the wall right there, that's not usually the preferred lane when you're trying to throw away the first lap and then make a heater on the second one. But again, track position is so key because it's so hard to pass here at this place ever since the reconfiguration after 2016 at the start of 2017.
Well, let's see what Colby Mice can do in the number 8 machine. Is obviously he's on track right now. Driver of the number 8 machine. Got to put that fast lap down. 29.302, the time to beat right now by Kyle Milliken in the Elevated Esports number 42 Toyota. Let's see this Ford come to the line. And Colby will go 29.576. Hey, that's good enough for second, though.
Yeah, and he jumps down to third on the pylon, but he's got a second lap going right now, so we'll see what he can do. Usually your second lap is going to be the best one when you come here to Texas. That first lap, that's why you're seeing so many guys go up against the wall on their first laps, because they want to make sure that they can put heat in the tires, get the runs off the corners. Then the 3 and 4, you want to kind of try to run that middle, the top side lane, like you see James Mullins doing here, who currently sits third in the points coming into tonight, obviously. 47 points back. Cody McKinney second, 39 back. Ryan Chapman still the points leader and the only driver to have 7 top 10s. Everybody else between the 4, 5, and lower range. So great season so far for Ryan Chapman. Broke that top 10 streak last week at Martinsville.
Obviously, Martinsville caution field, as we mentioned, as the 28 Toyota was the man to be the proverbial winner, the premier esports McKinney Racing entry Toyota. Outside the top 10, though, 11th. Gonna get another lap at it. Got to pick it up here. Looks really good coming off the back straightaway there, going to 3 there, Jason.
Yeah, we'll see if the man who won just 1 week ago in the PRS setups machine can try and at least get onto the top of the board. 11th currently sitting, and at the line this time by, it's going to be a 29.335. We're going to slot him in the 4th position, and this is a blistering lap time from JP Burns in that number 99 machine, because he is the only one to crack below the 2s. James Mullins is the only one in the 2s with a 2.32. Kyle Milliken and everybody else is with a 3.47 on back. JP ran a 29.184. That is a very fast lap, and JP, it looks like he is going to be one of the drivers to beat here tonight. And it's funny because the last time we were at Texas, Wesley, he finished 20th, 125 laps down.
Lewis Meglin now, the Toyota number 43. Let's see what he can do. ZMS entry crosses the line. Meglin, he'll climb to 10th. 29.406. That's a good lap for the number 43. Got another lap to pick it up here, too.
Yeah, and here comes Marshall Johnson in the number 9 machine there, wrapping around the bottom. 1 and 2. I believe this is his second lap he is attempting right now. Currently 21st up on the board. We'll see where he can slot in. He was slower than JP Burns' lap by an entire second last time around. We'll see where it puts him here at the line. He's the second to last truck to qualify. 29.318. Great speed out of the number 9 Craftsman Toyota Tundra TRD machine. Slots him up inside the top 5 with that 3.34. Only 1 truck remains to go, but it doesn't look like he is going to have any time. No on-track activity right now. That's the number 2 of Alan Duranko, who will be starting at the back. But J.P. Burns with a blistering 29.184, nearly a whole tenth faster in the field. He will grab tonight's pole from Texas. But with that being said, we're getting ready to grid these trucks up. Here we go for tonight's Texas 200, row 1. J.P. Burns there, the number 99, alongside third of the points. James Mullins trying to close that gap in on Ryan Chapman for the lead of the points. Row number 2, you'll find Kyle Milliken and Cody McKinney, last week's winner from Martinsville, trying to make it 2 in a row here tonight at Texas. Row 3, Marshall Johnson, Robert Malikian, great effort last year in 2023. See here. Row number 4, Brody Hanna, Brian Bliss in the number 3 machine, and rounding out the top 10 in row number 5, points leader Ryan Chapman, alongside Fury Motorsports driver Michael Blackner.
Row number 6, starting 11th, Lewis Maglin in the 43. James Story on the outside in the 6 as well. Row 7, Joey McKinney in the 18. Chris Custer in the 66 machine. Row 8's going to find Colby Mess in the 8 and Rick Webb in 54. Row 9 in Texas, TJ Bartell in the 98. Wayne Grasse in the 7. Row 10, top 20, Derek Catt in the 35 and Tony Solari in the 11. Moving on to the next row, it'll be Jake Ollier in the 92, Alan Duranko in the deuce. Row 12, nobody, 22 drivers. There you go.
Yep, and just like that, the 22 trucks are about to roll off behind the iRacing sedan pace car here in just a moment, and this is going to be a very interesting race. Let's take a look real quick at the Hunt the Front TV race analysis here tonight at Texas. No fast prepare like always. 100% fuel load, you're looking around 45 to 50 laps on a set of fuel. Think of tires. On a fuel load, 4 sets of tires in the pits behind the wall, 3 green-white checkered attempts if need be. 134 lap race. Stage breaks are at lap 25 and 55 at the completion of those laps. And while these guys get ready for their 1 pace lap before they take the green flag, Wesley, what do you think we're going to expect here tonight, man?
I think it's going to be precision banking. Like I said, they're going to have the opportunity to go 2, 3, 4 wide. I think right now the strategy is going to be pace yourself. Obviously, you're going to go from dusk until, the nightfall. That's going to really change the handling on these trucks for sure. Who can get the right setup? I really believe, again, not many cautions in this race. And you got 200-mile ride and drive. Ride and drive. Enjoy this race. You've got plenty of time to get there at the end.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be an interesting one. Strategy could play a factor in the 3rd stage. Maybe some tire conservation for sure. You don't want to shred that right front off these corners. Don't exit too high. Here's your Kaufman Creative weather conditions. Perfect night for racing here in the Lone Star State. These 22 truckers are ready to get racing. Pace car is off. We're in Texas, in Fort Worth. Who's going to be able to sling the guns tonight? Green flag is out. J.P. Burns leads them down to turn number 1. James Mullins up on the outside, and they all file out heading into turn 1.
Our friend of the North, John Paul Burns, leads the Cavalry in his Toyota 99 into the opening go-off of turn number 1 and 2. They hit that back straightaway. Mullins, McKinney, Milliken, top 5, all stay in line. The top 3 are, and then they're 2 by 2 behind them. Now they get single file going to 4.
Really fast portion of the racetrack. You see everybody try to get down to the bottom in 3 and 4, where there's 4 degrees more of banking down there. 20 through 1 and 2, 24 through 3 and 4. As they head back into turn number 1. Whoa, a little bit of a crossover move there. J.P. Burns got loose in the race lead. He might hit the wall. He's able to keep it off of it, but James Mullins goes right back down to the bottom of the racetrack. And look at this, shades of last week trying to get to the lead. Cody McKinney finds himself P3, looking for P2 now on Burns as they come off 4.
Saving it, holding it together as they work their way across the tri-oval, the dog leg, if you will, actually, the double dog leg here at Texas. Mimics Charlotte, mimics Atlanta. Off of turn 2 to the back straightaway. Mullins trying to make a move now at the top spot. McKinney wants it back, trying to go to the double down. He won at Martinsville. Behind them, they are still 2 by 2 in the early going. Up high is the 16 of Milliken off 4.
Milliken trying to see if he can get down on the bottom, but right now has Brody Hanna hot on his heels behind him. not enough roomage down below him to get down below, and now he will try to, but Brody Hanna's going to take a peek to the outside, going to maybe put it 3 wide. He gets to the quarter panel, lays off a bit, nearly hits the wall, still right behind Milikian. Down the back straightaway into turn 3 as he battles side by side with Kyle Milliken in the 42.
Another lap right now, working now a handful of laps and a few more couple of circuits as they come to the line. Brody Hanna, understanding the guy's got a birthday, coming up the birthday boy to the inside, makes a move on Milliken, tries to crack the top 5. Milliken in front of him, you got Milliken, you got Milliken. They sound the same, the names and the wording are different in the back straightaway.
Yeah, and they're heading down this back straightaway right now. Everybody trying, Wesley, to take everything that they can. You see Milliken getting really loose there on the bottom, hits the apron, and almost had to check up was Brody Hanna. The 23 machine hits that grass through the tri-oval. They go into the dog leg and back to turn number 1. But these are the laps that you really want to try to get as much track position as you can for the first 10 laps. On a fuel run, or rather tire run, as you see Marshall Johnson make a little contact. Oh, we got one sideways on the back. Lewis Meglin has one heck of a save off turn number 2.
By the way, I'm understanding that it is Milliken in the 42 and Melican in the 16. So, it's Malikian. Okay, Milliken and Malikian. Milliken, Malikian. Red, yellow, yellow, yellow. Red leather, yellow leather. Okay, Malikian, Milliken.
What?
Right there, going at it to get into the corner. Oh, nothing. I'm just practicing my speech patterns. Don't you remember that?
No, it's just funny because you're like red leather, yellow. Like, what? I've never heard that before in my life. I guess that's shenanigan number 1 of tonight. If you caught the Northwest Truck Series on Monday night, late in the evening, into early Tuesday morning, obviously, on the East Coast, me and Wesley had a blast calling that race. A lot of shenanigans, a lot of Werther's Andy talk. Obviously, Charles called Wesley an old man. Probably the entire night, I want to say it was. And I know Wesley still has that Werther's caramel hard candy there.
Yep.
Charles, we got to see it real quick. We got to see the bag. I know he's got it. I know he put it on for us on Monday night. If he can do that, possibly. I can hear the bag unraveling. There it is. There he goes. He's got the Werther's original. So Wesley's going to continue to have the caramel candy. We're going to continue to have some great racing here. Cody McKinney able to get past James Mullins, who needs all the points that he can here tonight. Cody only back right now in the point standings. Right now in second, minus 39. Mullins minus 47 in third. So these two could be contending for what could be the championship at the end of Season A. And obviously to try to contend and go into the playoffs later on during the year. And they want to try to distance themselves, pick up as many points as they can on Ryan Chapman, but he's currently running in 7th.
Yeah, right now, obviously, I will not lie to you. I'm eating my Werther's original candy, sucking on it when I'm not announcing. As they come back to the line, Cody McKinney, Brody Hanna, Robert Malikian, followed by Milliken. All there. Elevated Esports right now, 3, 4, and 5 on the racetrack, with also John Paul Burns falling back to 5th. All this going on as they shuffle their way, working lap number 10. McKinney the leader.
Yeah, and Cody McKinney would love to get 2 in a row here. Oh, you almost just see right there for a hot minute, Robert Malikian nearly just came right up into Kyle Milliken going into turn number 3, hit the apron, washed up a little bit, but they were able to gather it back up. Now they work into 1 and 2. Wide, sweeping left-hander. You don't really want to use that second and third groove. It's hard to do so. Early in the run, you could do it, but later on in the run, man, it is tough if you're a driver that's trying to make a pass on that outside, and you could just see that it's not really working to Kyle Milliken's advantage, as he's still door-to-door right now with Robert Malikian as they work off 4.
Another lap on the board as they come down to the line. McKinney, Hanna, Malikian, Milliken. Everyone else single file. And then you got about the 3rd, 4th single file. Then they're getting 2 by 2 behind them. Very calm, cool collective opening start to the race here in the early going at Texas.
Yeah, and it's been really calm pretty much the entire race so far. First couple laps, you had a lot of drivers going all over the place. We saw a couple close calls, especially with Lewis Meglin nearly went around on the back straightaway. Was able to save it, though, and overcorrected back straight off turn number 3. So great job by him. He currently looks like Lewis Meglin all the way back at 21st. So very, very, very big heartbreaker for him. Wayne Grossi, last car on the track in 22nd. And it's funny because he's got the fastest lap of the race right now with a 29.535 despite being 10.5 seconds back all the way in last position here. Here's the number 60 of James Mullins. He's fallen back a ton since the start of this race. Same could be said for JP Burns. They're battling now. They were going for first, about 10 laps or so ago. Now they're going for 6th.
Back straightaway, short rally of the race right now, working lap 15 when they come to the line. This event is 200 miles, 134 laps, and now Mullins and Burns battle side by side. While that goes on, Marshall Johnson watches this go along as they come to the line.
And the stage break will be coming at the end of lap 25, so they have 10 laps to go until then. So you can only imagine that everybody in this top 10 wants to pick up as many points as they can. Ryan Chapman, the points leader, we mentioned how he wants to extend that gap on Cody McKinney and also James Mullins. Well, McKinney's going to pick up a stage win here. If he could stay there, that'll be great valuable points, but it's not going to be a ton compared to Ryan Chapman. If he finishes in 5th, that's 5 good points there for the driver of the 27 machine, but he's battling side by side down into turn number 1 with James Mullins here. As you see them go 2 by 2, that's Milliken in the 42 machine side by side with Hanna. Mullins was side by side with Chapman. Oh, near contact though going into turn 3.
Inside of the racetrack, James Mullins. Mullins plenty of room up top by Brody Hanna. They battle now door to door. Look at now Ryan Chapman trying to make to the inside. They're going to make a run now on Kyle Milliken for 3rd. Right now they still go door to door. Back into turn 1.
Back into turn number 1. There goes Milliken. And also Brody Hanna, they kind of wash up the racetrack a little bit. Nearly makes contact. That was Milliken nearly door checking the 60 on corner exit, trying to keep it off the wall. And Wesley, if there's one thing I can tell you as a fellow sim racer here, man, turn 2 comes at you in a hurry. If you are way too high on exit coming off turn number 2, you will absolutely eat that wall like Miles the Monster does at Dover to the cars that hit the wall there. And it's no different than when you're racing at Texas Motor Speedway. You see the 42 crawl up the racetrack again. Better exit that time. Doesn't have to lift out of the throttle. Brody Hanna, though, had to do it just a little bit. He battled side by side with Ryan Chapman going into turns 3 and 4.
Watching now Milliken working on the inside, trying to close in on Mullins for 3rd. Mullins is right there in the crosshairs of the leader. He dives to the inside. That's Malikian looking for the lead. Can't clear him yet. McKinney on the outside. Here he comes to the bottom off 2, and Mullins will follow.
Oh, near 3 wide contact in the back of the field. JP Burns and also Brody Hanna with Ryan Chapman there were able to check it out, and they're all set in stone. But Robert Milikian goes to the point, passes Cody McKinney, and he's got help from James Mullins, who works to the inside. This guy was running in 6th and 7th. Just 3 laps to go. Now he finds himself battling for the lead here with only 5 laps to go in Stage 1.
Stage 1 here of this race. That will also give us a caution to try to bunch things up again for that 2nd stage. But inside, here comes Malikian up on the outside. Mullins on the bottom. Here comes McKinney to the bottom. And watching Milliken follow. Where does he go? He goes to the top as they work back to turn 1.
They'll work back to the top. He's going to have to try to get back to the throttle a little quicker, and he's going to have a great exit, actually. Nearly gets pinched into the wall there by James Mullins. Cody McKinney had to lift out of it. They're all jockeying for position, snaking down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Now Milliken looks to the outside of Cody McKinney, going through 3 and 4. He's just barely to the right rear quarter panel. 3 laps to go right now in stage number 1. Robert Milikian gets passed for the race lead. James Mullins, who started 2nd, trying to pick up a stage win and trying to close in for the championship points lead over Ryan Chapman as they work down the back straightaway.
Time's running out down that back straightaway into turn number 3. Is right now Mullins the man in the top spot. He's got that number 60 Chevrolet in the wind. Car length back, baby, is going to be Malikian. McKinney third, Milliken, Chapman top 5. Time running out to get stage points in stage 1.
Time is running out. 2 laps to go. Robert Malikian trying everything he can, throwing everything he's got at him but the kitchen sink back to 1 and 2, down the back straightaway here past the Big Hoss TV. And as they head into turn number 3, Robert Malikian's going to have 4 more corners after this if he wants to pick up the stage win. He could smell it. He could taste it. He's just got to get around the 60 machine. 1 lap to go here in the stage.
Time running out. Last lap. Points on the line at lap 25. Mullins stays locked to the white line on the inside of the racetrack. Malikian is there as well, followed by McKinney. They're all right there holding off Milliken as they go to the back stretch for stage 1 for the final time.
James Mullins trying to do everything he can to close in that championship gap between him and Ryan Chapman, and he's going to pick up a few points right here. Win stage number 1. Robert Malikian will come home second, McKinney third, Milliken fourth, Chapman fifth, Hanna sixth, JP Burns seventh, Johnson eighth, Torian ninth, and TJ Bartell rounds out your top 10 for your trucks that were able to earn stage points there for the completion of stage 1. And Wesley, so far, pretty racy up here at the front. We're going to go to lap 55 for stage number 2. I can imagine these guys are going to get a little bit more comfortable with their trucks, make a few little adjustments here and there. Major or minor, it doesn't matter. These guys know what they got, and they're going to have to try their best if they want those stage points for stage 2.
Yeah, calm, cool, collective, clean stage number 1. Quad C's there as the lights illuminate here around Texas Motor Speedway. Always like the light bars on the catch fence in real life as well as here on the sim at No Limits Texas. End of stage number 1, and man, what a job for James Mullins racking up stage points here tonight at round 9 at Texas. And obviously everybody, and I believe everybody, is going to be coming down pit lane in just a moment.
5th stage win for James Mullins, still holds the record this season for the most stage wins this season. With that being said, while these guys come to the aid of their pit crews for just a second, we're going to step away for a second, and we'll be right back for the start of stage number 2. This is LSRTV's coverage of the Sim Racing Points Truck Series from Texas.
10 years of speed. 10 years of stories. For the past 10 years, we've been more than just spectators. We've been the heartbeat of local racing, growing alongside the tracks, drivers, and fans who make it all possible. From the dusty turns to the checkered flags, we've shared every triumph and every challenge, making memories that last a lifetime. As we mark this milestone, we're not just looking back, we're revving up for the future. We are expanding, bringing you even more racing, more coverage, and more ways to connect with the adrenaline-fueled world we love. Our commitment to the local racing community is unwavering, and the next chapter promises to be our most exciting yet.
Welcome back, everybody, to LSRTV's coverage of the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series from Texas, where there are no limits. You'll see that around the racetrack at some points, some corners, some straightaways. Wayne Grossi elected to stay out under that first caution flag period, completing stage number 1. James Mullins picking up his 5th stage win of the season, most of anybody so far here this season, as far as we are concerned. So James Mullins going to restart second. Wayne Grossi going to restart, obviously, from the first position. And Wesley, this is going to be an interesting restart here. I'm interested to see how Wayne Grossi is going to do.
Yeah, obviously, we're going to see what Mullins can do also on the outside, the stage 1 winner. He'll take the preferred outside lane. We're watching what Wayne Grossi can do. He's the lone man that did not pit, so obviously used tires. We'll keep an eye on that for sure as we get ready to go for the start of Stage 2 at Texas.
Here we go. Stage 2 is underway in the Texas 200. Wayne Grossi beats the 60 to the line, and James Mullins did a great job noticing that. Remember, Jose Acosta a few weeks ago back at Phoenix in the Cup Series beat the leader to the line, and after the race was disqualified for one of those incidents and lost his first race of the season, but was able to pick it up. But look at Wayne Grossi going all the way to the back. Maybe a miscue on the 7 machine. Didn't mean to stay out, unless maybe it's a penalty being served here. And it doesn't look like it. He's going to drop all the way to the back, man. The 7 machine, I'm not too sure what went on with him, but he's not coming to the pits this time. Gives it up to James Mullins, though.
Yeah, not peeling onto pit road, so obviously possibly a penalty, and he had to fall back, or maybe he would have got an EOL, penalty or kick from the server. But nonetheless, Mullins back to the point, and Grossi has lost a big lead from the pack as the leaders stormed their way at the beginning of Stage 2 off 4.
Cody McKinney hot on the heels of James Mullins. They head back to the start-finish line this time to start lap number 32. Back into 1 and 2 they go. Brody Hanna right on the bumper of McKinney. He'll go up to the outside lane. He's the defending race winner from 1 year ago here in 2023. Whoa, big shot there in the middle of the pack. That was one driver, being James Torrey. Got shot out of line, nearly went into the inside wall, but was able to save it halfway down the back straightaway. Great job by him, but with that, the torch has been given to Cody McKinney. He is your race leader back to 1 and 2.
Back into the corner again, down McKinney. Winner last week in a caution. Field show at Martinsville. One yellow flag, and that was the end of the stages. Here comes now Hanna down to the inside, celebrating a birthday tomorrow. He wants a big present in Texas in the early going in turn 3.
He almost had a big present being a destroyed race truck right there coming off turn number 2, Wesley. I said that he was loose because if you saw going into 1 and 2, he got right on the bumper of Cody McKinney. He didn't touch him, but he got him arrow loose, and the 28 got a little sideways and presented the opportunity for Brody to get the run on corner exit. Went a little lower. Brody got really loose off the corner, but hey, it paid off for him. He's got the win. Cody McKinney goes from 1st to 5th in just half a lap now as he works right behind the 60 of James Mullins, who was just the race leader. Oh,
we got caution problems on the racetrack as we see some drivers dropping off the scoring pylon. The 3 and the 54, the most for wear. Brian Bliss, Rick Webb, yellow flag out for the 2nd time, and this one is for an on-track incident here, Jason.
Yeah, we'll take a look here at the LSRTV replay going into turns 1 and 2. I can only imagine it starts with this 54 possibly hitting the wall. As you see, this is going to happen coming out of turn number 4. You already saw a little bit of scrapage to the right side of the 54. Actually, no, that's just the chrome number. So really cool design, but gets a tap actually from James Torrey entering the corner. Hard impact by the 54 machine. And then Brian Bliss able to actually get through that, so he was not involved, but had to slow down a ton to avoid the spinning Rick Webb. We're going to take a look at it here one more time from the aerial coverage.
From the top side, we'll see what happened here. From another angle. Oh, boy. Behind the leaders, all this happened. A little contact there with the 6. Nowhere to go, 54. And there you see the end result of what just happened to both of those guys. A lot more damage on the 54. And if I remember correctly, no fast repairs in this series, right, Jason?
Yeah, no fast repairs. So if you wreck in this series, you're pretty much done unless you have some kind of cosmetic damage that you can repair. Take that optional required repair time. But if you get that, what they so call the meatball flag with the little black flag with the orange circle in the middle of it, hence that is basically the DNF flag. And obviously that is not your best friend on iRacing. And you do not want to see that. You will be done for the evening, and more than likely Rick Webb's going to be out for the remainder of the night with that one. Chris Custer, 1 lap down right now. We'll see if maybe he will get the free pass position here, unless it's not being given, or was already given, but I believe he is going to get it. And tonight, Chris Custer making what would be his 3rd start of the season so far here tonight. Made a few weeks ago. Back here tonight in No Limits, Texas. We'll see what he can do later on in the race. Only car 1 lap down besides Rick Webb, who obviously just brought us under the first real caution of the race. Second one of the evening. Let's take a look real quick at the Virginia811.com race summary. 2 cautions, 5 caution laps so far, about to go at 6 on the board. And 8 lead changes. And Wesley, 8 lead changes here at Texas this early in the going. That's pretty good, I'd say, for these trucks.
It is, man. Obviously, the racing's been very exciting, too. We mentioned that the precision banking would allow 2-3 wide race, and I just didn't expect for it to be so fast up in the front with the leaders, man. They're flirting with disaster, kind of like the, pardon the pun, song by Molly Hatchet from back in the 80s. But, dude, right now they're holding their own, and obviously we're closing in under 100 laps to go. I think the intensity's just going to pick up from there.
Yeah, and if we get the 1 to go signal here this time by, which more than likely, obviously, it looks like Barney the Flagman will be giving us that 1 to go signal, and Fred the pace car driver will turn off those pace car lights. We're going to restart on lap 39. These guys only have till the completion of lap 55 to get stage points, so you're looking at around, 17, 16 laps to go when we go back green here. That's not a lot of time. Stage 1 was very short. Stage 2 is also pretty short. It's 5 laps longer, but still, it's going to be a really interesting battle up here at the front. Nobody elected to pit there besides James Torrey, Brian Bliss, and Wayne Grossi. They have all elected to come down pit road a couple laps ago. And Derek Catt is also the only other driver on a different kind of, I guess you could say, a different cycle. He's on lap 28 compared to most drivers' 27 pit lap. So we're going to get the 1 to go signal here. This time, Brody Hanna, the race leader, trying to, again, like Wesley had mentioned, get a big birthday present. And that would be his birthday tomorrow. So happy early birthday to Mr. Brody Hanna. And that number 23 machine does so many great things, obviously, for FTSR, one of the league admins, one of the drivers who week in and week out applauds the drivers, helps them out, does great things with the series, both him, Richie Coy, and some others as well. So he would love to get another win here so far this season. And coming into tonight, Brody Hanna, 8 starts. He's made all 8 races. This is the 9th one. He's got 3 wins, tied for the most with James Mullins. And he's got 1 stage win, 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and 79 laps coming into tonight led. So Brody Hanna would love to get that early birthday present here, Wesley, as we're getting ready to come back to the green flag.
Let's try it. Lights off on the pace car. We'll get ready to bring it back. Obviously, Brody Hanna is right now the leader. Kyle Milliken, TJ Bartell, James Mullins, Cody McKinney, top 5, Brian Chapman, Robert Malikian. Malikian? I don't know. Joey McKinney. John Paul Burns, Kobe Mess, top 10, lights off, pace car in. Jason, we're back to green in Texas.
Getting ready for the restart here. And we're getting ready. Here we go, into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out. Not the restart that TJ Bartell wanted in the number 98 machine. He falls to the front bumper of Cody McKinney, and Brody Hanna's got no pushing help down into 1 and 2. James Mullins gave a great shot to the 42 of Kyle Milliken. Oh, they're going to go 3 wide here, coming off 2. Cody McKinney puts it down to the bottom. He wants that 3rd spot as they head for 3.
Makes that move into turn number 3, and a big waddle traffic there, right there in the front of the pack. Brody Hanna powers to the lead. Milliken, Mullins, Bartell, they're going to play wingman behind the leader, but they're getting aggressive door to door as they come to the line for lap 40 next time around.
Double wide, 2 by 2 by 2 for the first 3 rows, 6 cars deep. You see Ryan Chapman way up out of the groove, exiting turn number 2. Will he hit the wall? No, he won't. He's able to lay out of the throttle, open up the door for Joey McKinney, but he does not take advantage of it. They're still 3 by 3, and Kyle Milliken is going to clear Brody Hand as they head back for 3, coming to lap 41.
Top 3 trucks in the front, inside, single file. No one jumping out of line. McKinney Mullins now door to door. Chapman, Malicki, and McKinney. They're right there, tighter than a lid on a pickle jar, trying to go to the bottom. Here comes McKinney. He'll make a move on the 16 as they work 3 wide for the first time out of turn 2 at Texas.
3 wide down the back straightaway. It's Joey McKinney, Ryan Chapman, and Robert Milikian going at it just for a second. Now they're going to go back to double file as they hit 3 and 4. Chapman on the bottom, Joey McKinney having what would be considered possibly his best run all season long. What will he do here tonight? They work back into turn number 1. Still Brody Hanna with the race lead. Joey McKinney goes to the outside of Chapman again, but another battle up front for the race lead once more.
Plenty of room given to one another as they work their way off the corner. Now they step to the back straightaway. Hanna now the top spot. Milliken will go up high, way up in troubles. The 98, the 28 of McKinney, the 98 correction. That's Bartel, kind of like a drafted Daytona or Talladega. He is getting shifted to the back. He's got to find a way to get in line. Is he fighting for it, going to 1?
Joey McKinney nearly just ran into the door of TJ Bartel, and Ryan Chapman is loose on the bottom of the racetrack. Everybody has to check up, open up the door for Robert Millikian, and oh no, Joey McKinney slaps the wall, I believe, coming out of turn number 2. Opens up the door for tonight's pole sitter, J.P. Burns, who will work down to the inside. He'll pick up the 7th position, and here comes Colby Mice inside the top 10, and we're under yellow once again for the 3rd time here tonight.
Yeah, caution out over the racetrack. Problems involving a couple of more machine cluster. The tide ride possibly involving 66. We'll find out and see a replay if we can on the production to find out. Lap number 43. Yellow out for the 3rd time. We're thinking it might be in the back here. We don't know if this is official. Boy, they wadded him up, but there he goes. 66 Custer and Jason. That's the 2nd time now that the number 6 machine of James Torrey is in some shape or form been caught up in an incident with another driver on the racetrack tonight.
Yeah, and it was looking like it was a great run going for James Torrey earlier on. He found himself, I believe, inside the top 10. Now he's in 18th, 6 spots back from where he started. And it's just not been a night for James Torrey. But, you know, he's one of those drivers where sometimes you'll see him at the front, sometimes you won't see him at all. Really all race, obviously. Coming into tonight, James Torrey's only made 4 starts so far this season. He's got no top 10s to show for it, nothing at all. He's only got 1 lap led. So this is just adding more salt to the wound for the driver, the number 6, with the 4, now make it 5 starts he's made as he makes his way down to pit road. So is Rick Webb, who is also 10 laps down. I believe he is still in the pit doing that required damage repair unless he has exited the vehicle. That's going to put us under the 4th caution of the evening, obviously. 1 for the stage, 3 for others, I believe. Or maybe it's the 3rd. Is it the 3rd caution? I believe it is the 3rd caution. Let's take a look real quick again at the Virginia811.com race summary here. And there he is. Yep, 3 cautions. I stand corrected. 3 cautions, 9 caution laps, 10 lead changes, 2 more than what we saw last time we looked at it. And obviously Brody Hanna still the race leader. And Wesley, when they go back to green here, man, they're going to have less than 10 laps to go. You got what you got. You're going to have to get to the front really quickly, or at least get inside that top 10 if you're outside of it.
Yeah, and obviously the first caution came out for the end of stage 1 here in Texas in this 200-miler. The last couple of cautions have been in the in the beginning of stage number 2, working now lap number 44 of 134. I don't see anybody committing to come to the pits unless there are people in the back. Obviously, what a drive for these guys. We saw a moment ago where they really turned up the whip, and it really happened when TJ Bartel got pushed out the draft. He got stuck on the outside lane, and then all of a sudden they were going 3 wide, 2-3 rows deep. Very aggressive, shades of what you think you would see at the latter stages of the race, not at the beginning of stage 2 here on lap 50.
And you know something, Wesley, and you mentioned that nobody looked like they were coming to pit road, except obviously the drivers who were involved in that last caution, being James Torrey, and Chris Custer, but even James Torrey, all the way back there. The thing is I'm actually surprised we didn't see anybody come down pit road. If you think about the real-life stage situations with how valuable track position looks like it is here at Texas in the long run, which I'm sure we will get a long run in this third stage. But if you think about it, if you're a driver maybe outside this top 10, let's say, for example, maybe like a Jake Euler. Jake Euler right now sits in 13th. He's up 8 spots. He's in the 92 truck. If you're him, maybe come down into the pits if it's open this time. Service your truck, get those tires, ride around. Sure, you're not going to get stage points because obviously he joined only, a few weeks ago, so he's not really in contention for any kind of, championship for Season A. But, for the playoffs, if he could set himself up for pitting here, maybe anybody else, you could stay out and obviously under the next caution period during the completion of Stage 2, and you'll find yourself right up at the front. So I'm really surprised that we didn't see anybody on pit road right there.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And looks like the lights will go off on the pace car. 1 to go, being given to the field. We'll try this again.
Yeah, and we're going to try this again, obviously. That was working under the third caution here. We'll be coming to the restart on lap 48 of 55 in stage number 2, and then we'll go all the way to the distance to 134, and it should be a very interesting one. We'll see, will it be caution filled like obviously Martinsville was 1 week ago? Probably not. Then again, Racing Wesley, you never know. And obviously row number 1, Brody Hanna, Kyle Milliken. Row 2, you'll find Cody McKinney, James Mullins. Row 3, you have TJ Bartell, Ryan Chapman, who is still having a strong night, but he's been up and down in that top 10 here tonight. JP Burns, Joey McKinney, Colby Mice, and Robert Milikian, who was battling for the lead, now just on the brink of possibly falling outside the top 10. So we'll see what happens with him here as we're getting ready to come back to the restart on lap 48. Pace lights are out on the iRacing pace car here, getting ready to make that left-hand turn down to pit road. And there it is. 2 by 2. Everybody ready to get back going here on lap 48. Make sure they don't jump the start. Here we go. Green flag is back out. We're back underway from Texas here as Milliken gets a great push from the 60 of Mullins back down into 1.
Jason, I don't want to get off subject, but I'm just wondering, are you having a lag on your end like I am, or is it something on my internet? Just wondering. It's Brody Hanna. Brody Hanna back to the top spot. I just got a bad lag. I'm going to log out real quick and come back. If it might be on my end. Just wondering.
All right. Well, West fixes the little issue. Technical difficulties we got up here, but no harm, no foul. Brody Hanna still the race leader, obviously. Cody McKinney running right in tow behind him. They're down on the bottom of the racetrack. He'll try to make a move now for the race lead. As you see, Milliken file right in behind the 23 machine of Brody Hanna now down the back straightaway, pushes them all the way back out to the front. Milliken going to be side by side now with Cody McKinney as they work off turn 4.
Yeah, I think I'm back with you now, and we're back up at full song. They come back to the line. It's Brody Hanna, again, the leader of the 423. McKinney to second. Here we go again, a little do-si-do. Mullins on the outside. Milliken will now stick his nose in the battle, and Bartell wants some of it as well as they get single file off too.
This time by, they'll see 5 laps to go in the stage. Look at Ryan Chapman, darted out of line there, goes to the bottom of the racetrack. He wants a piece of the action, trying to catch those first 4 trucks in line. He'll get around TJ Bartell, catch the draft of James Mullins. We'll see what they can do. Now here comes Milliken back to the inside of McKinney. That's going on for second as they head through turn number 2.
Backstretch again, working now in front of that virtual Big Hoss TV, and there's a 3-truck battle now, make it 4 for the lead. Mullins wants the spot to win stage 1 and 2. He dives to the inside under Milliken. Milliken now trying to go after Hanna. Outside by himself is McKinney as they come to the line.
Milliken just barely got into the grass right there, and he's going for the race lead. Goes to the inside of Brody Hanna, but Hanna slams the door shut. entering the corner and off turn number 2. Milliken's going to slide up a little bit. No harm, no foul for him. Third place, still battling side by side. That's Mullins and McKinney as they head back into turn number 3, though. Kyle Milliken's got a great run on Brody Hanna here as they exit 4.
Time running out here as they come flashing down to the line, thundering across the stripe back into turn number 1 of those kaleidoscope of virtual colors. It's handed out inside of the racetrack. Milliken is right there to the outside. He's got to battle him stride for stride. Mullins is ready to pounce on him like a coiled cobra if somebody slips here in Texas.
2 laps to go at the line for stage number 2. Kyle Milliken all by his lonesome self up on the top side with the first 5 trucks up there battling. Brody Hanna still with the race lead, but not for long. Here comes James Mullins trying to work to the outside as they fly back into 1.
Another lap on the board now as time closes to the finish of the second stage. It's still Hanna in tow. Now Mullins, stage 1 winner, dives to the inside. Driver left of the machine of the 23. They're going to go door to door. Mullins to the lead on the bottom of the racetrack as they work to the white flag.
And he's going to bring Cody McKinney along with him, maybe even possibly Kyle Milliken, who just brushes the grass again going through the tri-oval. 1 lap to go in stage number 2. Does Cody McKinney have anything for James Mullins? He's going to have a little bit of a lower exit off the corner, but James Mullins has it by half a car length as they head down the back straightaway into turn number 3 for the final time in stage 2. McKinney's got one more shot to get to the inside of James Mullins. He's got the run. What will he do with it? He goes to the outside. Not enough. James Mullins picks up not only stage number 1, he'll also pick up stage number 2. Second will go to, I believe, Cody McKinney. Third, Kyle Milliken. Fourth, Brody Hanna. Fifth, Ryan Chapman. Sixth, JP Burns. Then you'll find Joey McKinney, TJ Bartel, Robert Milliken, and Marshall Johnson rounding out your top 10. Wesley, these first 2 stages have been absolutely phenomenal with the racing out here tonight.
It certainly has. Obviously, the top hand Chevrolet of James Mullins methodically put himself back in the right spot and picked them off one by one adversary right after the other, found that opportunity right there coming to 1 to go to get door to door and put pressure on them. And obviously, when it's all said and done, James Mullins sweeps both stage 1 and stage 2 here for round 9 of the Sim Racing Points Full Throttle Sim Racing Truck Series at Texas. And I will say this, and Wayne Grassi, I hope you hear me as well. Everybody come down the pit lane. By the way, Jason, fastest truck of the race so far, number 7, Wayne Grassi, 29.535. He's in the top 20, though.
He still has that fastest lap of the race, obviously sitting back in 19th, but we'll see what he can do here in stage number 3. And while they come down pit road, we're going to step aside for a quick second. We'll be right back for the start of stage number 3.
Drag race to the line!
We're a racing family that you can trust on and off the track. Here at Hercules Foundation Repair, we are here to help with our free in-home evaluations and personal repair plans. So if you're looking for foundation repair, go online or give us a call to schedule your free inspection.
Drag race to the line.
Welcome back. Approaching the start of stage number 3 here for the Sim Racing Points Truck Series for the FTSR. Jason Rockefeller, Wesley Outland, Charles Wooten up in the broadcast booth with you here on LSRTV. Just wrapped up our completion of pit stops here at the end of stage number 2. James Mullins, your race leader here. It looked like Marshall Johnson looked like he was going to stay out, but then decided to come down pit road, so he will be restarting in, it looks like, the 19th position. And Wesley, this is go time, man. You're going to have less than 100 laps to go, obviously, here. What do you think we're going to expect for stage number 3? Because, obviously, I think in the back of our minds, we're all anticipating that long run, and we're yet to have one here tonight.
No, you're exactly right, and I think another thing you got to factor into for this third stage is we are about to approach, less than 8 laps to go, the halfway mark of the race here in stage number 3. Longest run of the race. You got over 75, 80 lap run here you got to do. And I'll say this as well, factor in green flag pit stop unless we start getting a plethora of cautions in this third stage here, which it could happen. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Maybe not. But if it does happen, I think you throw that strategy out the window. But if we get another long green flag run, Jason, you got to look for those green flag pit stops. And if you do, you got to hit your marks. You got to be perfect to not make a mistake, especially in green flag runs at Texas.
Both stages, kind of like what Nathan Bigart is doing over on the Cup Series side. Didn't do it this past week, but the 2 weeks before that swept both stages in stages 1 and 2 at Coda, and then stages 1 and 2 at Richmond. So that was really, really cool to see. And obviously James Mullins trying to do the sweep with all 3 stages here tonight. He'll be the race leader coming through the Geico restart zone with the outside guy of Cody McKinney. Whoa, big jump for the 60 of James Mullins there. I believe he knew he kind of fired really early. I don't know if it was inside the box or not, but very careful on that. And he actually gives up the race lead to Cody McKinney as they head back into 1 and 2.
And that's just in case if the Full Throttle Sim Racing officials want to make a call on a penalty if they're observing or looking at the restart. He just kind of just gave it up and said, hey, look, let's give it back to him. Ready to go. Cody McKinney working off of turn number 4 through the dog leg here at Texas. Go time. Hannah inside right there with him. It's Milliken as they go into turn number 1.
Kyle Milliken trying to get back up towards the front here. He's already there. The question's going to be is can he make the move? Does he have the longer pace? And just like that, we're under caution again here in the back of the field. Believe it might involve, and oh no, it involves Marshall Johnson, the driver, who looked like he's going to stay out, elected to come to the pits right before the green flag, and ultimately finds himself in trouble coming off turn 2.
Caution out here in the Lone Star 200 as the yellow flag flies, and here we go again. There, the 9 again, Jason, right in there with him again. The 9 and the 6.
James Torrey cannot catch a break.
He can't.
Yeah, it's really been troublesome here for James Torrey tonight. And the thing is it's not even really all been his fault. I mean, you could say, I think he spun around going into turn 3. At one point, yeah, he might have came down a little bit in the first one, but besides that, I mean, he has just had nowhere to go tonight. James, we feel for you, man, up here in the booth. Hopefully his luck turns around here for the remainder of the night. We'll have to see. Obviously, you also saw Derek Catt coming off turn number 4 there, heading into the tri-oval. He hit the wall pretty good coming through there, and I believe this is actually Derek Catt's debut, and yes, it is. So welcome Derek Catt to the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series, and I'm sure he's having a rough night as well. Started in 19th, he's still in 19th, has some damage, and he's seeing what these guys are all about. And really, Wesley, I don't honestly think from the racing we've seen so far, and obviously we haven't seen that long green flag run yet, so we can't exactly separate the men from the boys so far, but with what we've seen here tonight, there has not really been a dominant truck. We've seen Cody McKinney, we've seen Brody Hanna, we've seen Kyle Milliken, obviously James Mullins. Despite picking up those first 2 stage wins, he's still kind of losing the lead here and there. Ryan Chapman, JP Burns, I mean, a lot of these guys inside this top 10 all could contend for this win.
No, you're exactly. I mean, literally anybody right now who's who could go in here and could battle and could compete. And, still a lot of racing left to go. That's something that you might want to say. If you got a guy that's if you got spotters, sometimes we have iRacing guys with spotters. I would be telling you right now, you're just about to approach 100 miles into this race, Jason Rockefeller. Be patient. Don't get caught up in shenanigans too early in the going that's going to eliminate you from the game. You got to pace yourself. You got to at least get to around lap number 100. Let's get to triple digits. And then it's time to pull the trigger and go for that final 35 laps for the victory.
Yeah, we'll have to find out and see here as you see them working around off turn number 4. And there are those illuminated catch fence lights, like Wesley mentioned, that go all the way from turn number 4 down into turn number 1. Very, very cool feature that obviously Texas Motor Speedway added here many years ago. I believe it was
Yes.
in the early 2010s when they did it. It's been really cool to see that because it's the only track that has that feature, and it's really cool. Obviously, SMI owns Texas Motor Speedway. They've put a lot of money and hard investment into this for race experience for fans. Obviously held the All-Star race for a few years before ultimately SMI removed the Texas race date, gave it 1 race, and now North Wilkesboro made its return, obviously, to the Cup Series schedule for the All-Star race since, I believe it was, 1994, I believe? I know it was before my time. Obviously, Jeff Gordon picked up the last points.
The last time the NASCAR Cup Series ran at North Wilkesboro was in 1996, and yes, Jeff Gordon did win it. It was in October of 1996. Yep.
There you go. Wesley's got that because he's the old man here. Sorry, I had to do it. I know Charles is always calling you an old man. But hey, I'm still young. I'm not that young. Listen, hey, I was here for a lot. Listen, half the Cup field that's in today's races wasn't even around when I started watching NASCAR in diapers. So I'm not that young. But obviously, awesome to see North Wilkesboro return, and it will also return for the Cup Series All-Star race this year again, but with a new feature, new pavement. So we'll see how that obviously affects it. But obviously, Texas coming up this weekend for the NASCAR National Touring Series in general. We're going to get the one-to-go signal here this time.
That's all I'm going to say, Jason.
I do too.
Tuned into the Dale Jr. download the other day, and man, I was kind of frustrated myself with what I saw at Richmond, and then, of course, the same thing at Martinsville. Bristol's Bristol, and I tell people that. But you got Dale Jr. point blank telling people, take the concrete off Bristol. Let's go pavement again. We got to find a way for the fans of the NASCAR world to try to attract the new racing fans to fix the short track package, obviously. And by the way, September 29th, before October, September 29th, 1996 was the last time North Wilkesboro was Jeff Gordon the winner in that race. So, yeah. And I'm going to say it again, with the exception of Kyle Larson whipping up on everybody in the All-Star race last year, Jason, they got to have a better short track package for the All-Star show, or I don't think it'll be back at North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, I absolutely agree for sure. I mean, there's a lot of things. Obviously, they took away some of the stakes in the diffuser in the rear end of the car. They obviously tried different tire models, but it's just not working. They got to make it softer tire. They got to add some horsepower. But I know that they talk about how horsepower is hard to do. But obviously, all we can do is wish as NASCAR and stock car fans in general. But pace car is off. We're getting ready here to resume stage number 3, the final stage. Cody McKinney will lead us back down. Brody Hanna up on the outside. Through the Geico restart zone they go, and just like that, green flag's back in the air. McKinney gets a great restart. Brody Hanna almost missed a shift there. Actually fell all the way to the bumper of the 27, gets a little nudge before they head into turn number 1, and now Kyle Milliken gets to the second position while Chapman works to the bottom of Hanna through 2.
Back to it again at No Limits, Texas, and again we are 100 miles in when they come to the line. McKinney the leader, Milliken in second, Chapman third behind him. They are 2 by 2 between Mullins and Hanna. Hanna up high as they work off 4.
There comes James Mullins, works into that 4th spot. Talked about him losing some positions at the start of stage number 3. Looked like he jumped it, gave a ton of positions back to kind of say, hey, I don't want to get penalized, so I'm going to give up the lead. But he didn't just give up the lead. He fell all the way back to 6th or 7th, but now works his way back up into 4th. They're single file for the first 7 spots. And as I say that, Brody Hanna ducks out of line. He'll go to the bottom of Mullins and make it look easy as he closes all the way up to the rear tailgate of Ryan Chapman as they head through the tri-oval 2x2 now as they head into 1.
It's about to get antsy now. You've made it to the first 100 miles, the second 100 miles. Obviously, I think it's going to get more intense. But again, I would say wait till about lap 100, and then you turn up the wick. Nonetheless, Milliken, look at this. It looks like it's the last lap. They're going to go 3 wide again and door-to-door for the lead into 1. Into 3 and 4, correction.
3 wide for just a second there between Joey McKinney, James Mullins, and JP Burns. They almost just did it again coming off turn number 4. And Brody Hanna pushes Kyle Milliken all the way to the race lead. And look at Joey McKinney, probably like we had mentioned, having the best night he has had. And I'm hoping to not jinx it. He nearly hits the wall coming off the corner, gets really sideways, and actually Cody McKinney, I believe that's his brother, nearly just got into the right rear quarter panel of Brody Hanna, almost sucked him around there coming down the back straightaway, but they're able to get it back going. Brody Hanna about a car length or 2 at advantage over the 28 now as they head back into turn 1.
Hold on to it again as they work their way across the line, back up the corner, up the banking here in Texas. It's Hanna, the leader, stays to the inside. Now drives up to the middle lane as they work the back chute. McKinney will follow. Mullins, Milliken, Chapman, Burns, McKinney, Bartell, Bliss, and they're all door-to-door behind the leader in 3.
Door-to-door, 2x2 like we've seen a majority of the night. And will it give at some point? We are yet to see that one Texas big one that we always usually see here no matter what's running trucks, Xfinity Cup. There's always that one big pileup caused by a little mishap. And look at these guys going 3 wide now off turn number 2. Blackner, Joey McKinney, Brian Bliss, who I believe hit the wall on corner exit. They'll go back 2x2 now. The 2 race leaders are single file, but everybody else, though, double wide as they exit 4.
And they hold it together again as they work their way back into the corner, down to the line. Hanna to the top spot. Again, leading multiple laps. The birthday boy for tomorrow. Battles. Here comes now the 60 Mullins. The man that has led the first 2 stages of the race, Jason, has put himself in the catbird seat. So right now, capitalize again, but don't overreach. Still a long way to go as they work the backstretch to 3.
Yeah, still a very long way to go here as they head through turn number 4. Off the corner, JP Burns. He's been kind of able to separate himself now as he works back into turn number 1, trying to chase down the race leader. CJ Bartell as well as clear of the 2 wide fiasco. Back into 1 and 2 this time. Check that. Here comes Cody McKinney. He nearly loses it on corner exit. Almost made contact with Bartell as they head back down the backstretch. And James Mullins now, Wesley, going for the race lead into 3 and 4.
Working off that corner again, off of turn 4, down to the start-finish line. Bartell down to the inside. He'll make a run in on the machine of Burns. Burns now under attack, door-to-door behind him. Here comes also McKinney, licking his chops, ready to pounce on the outside. And while that goes on, Ryan Chapman waiting patiently as they hit the backstretch.
Chapman trying the best he can to obviously keep that points lead that he wants. He's already given up some points in stages 1 and 2. Trying to make them all back up here in the final stage as they head off turn number 4. Cody McKinney falls back to his brother Joey as they reach turn number 1. Little contact made into 1 and 2. Cody still trying to work that outside. Chapman sliding up a little bit. Joey's loose behind him. Slides right across the front bumper of Kyle Milliken now as they head into turn number 3 with Hanna going for the race lead back into 3 and 4.
Another opportunity again now as they work off that corner one more time. As you aforementioned, they come flashing, thundering down to the line at No Limits Texas to the stripe. Here comes now Bartell. He's in that number 4 spot. How long will he hold off the cavalry behind him? Chapman, McKinney, Milliken. They're all starting to make a launch after him behind that spot. It's the leaders in galore off 2.
They head down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Everybody has kind of gotten single filed out besides these guys right back here. That's CJ Bartell, Ryan Chapman battling. And back behind them as well, You see Kyle Milliken, Joey McKinney, they're trying to get back up there as well. Michael Blackner inside the 9th spot, or inside the top 10 rather. Brian Bliss, who was all the way in the back many laps ago, he now has worked up back inside the top 10. He started 8th, trying to make a move on Michael Blackner. Back there is Bartel, and Chapman still duking it out going into 3.
All this going on again is Bartel now just held off, sneak in by the man there in the 27 of Ryan Chapman. He'll make it work. Bartel, though, ready to try to return the favor to the inside. 2 for 1 if he can get up there with Chapman and Burns in 1.
He thought about going all the way to the bottom there, had to check up, now falls back to Cody McKinney's front bumper, who makes a move to the inside, down the back straightaway, past the Big Hoss TV, into 3 and 4 they go. They'll remain side by side. Joey trying to catch the 2, and it looks like he's easily going to close that gap up, exiting turn 4. Still battling for the race lead, though. This is awesome. If we can look at this real quick, James Mullins, Brody Hanna, they have been swapping the lead back and forth the last few laps. Great stuff up here at the front.
Back and forth, back and forth. Here they come to the inside. Mullins now back to the top spot again, trying to pull out the hat trick here in Texas. Right now, Hanna right there on his back door, going after him for the lead as they work off 4 on lap 80.
Oh, and James Mullins got really loose there coming into turn number 4, was able to save it, but Brody Hanna got a great exit on the corner, and he'll work now to the outside, and while these two duke it out, it's given the opportunity to drivers like Chapman and Burns to close the gap up quickly. Cody McKinney as well. They work off turn number 2 this time. They're still side by side with Chapman, hunting them down here as they come into 3.
Yeah, definitely going after him, licking his chops and ready to pounce. Here comes the outside lane. Hanna's truck now trying to prove that the outside lane is ready to start to work to make moves. Mullins, though, throws the block. Well, actually, he stays a possum, stays in position. Hanna had no other choice but to get up under the tailgate. He'll do that as they dive back in. Chapman's after him in 3rd out of 2.
Yeah, Brody Hanna kind of had to get out of it right there. Now he falls back in line. Question's going to be is did he use up those tires? The same can be said for James Mullins. Chapman's had a little bit of time to kind of settle back in. So is J.P. Burns, who's riding in 4th. Cody McKinney as well in that 5th spot. They come off the quarter now. Still single file as they hit the line this time by, but Brody Hanna wants this race lead, and he wants it bad. He'll work back to the inside into turn 1.
Makes another lap after him again. Right now, Mullins clear for that spot. We approach lap number 83 of the race. Back stretch now, Mullins, Hanna, Chapman. Things finally calm down up in the top 5. Single file behind them, though. Burns under attack by McKinney, trying to get also in the battle as hell off 4.
Great battle for Burns and McKinney there. That's going on for what would be the 4th position. They're all single file for the first 5 spots. Then they start to get a little double file back behind them. JP and Cody, though, now going double file. Ryan Chapman's got a great run on the 23 machine. Thought about going to the inside. Not enough time to get there as they work back into 3 and 4. James Mullins wants these guys to get side by side so he can check out on everybody back behind him.
Back across the line again. This is the SimRacingPoints.com Full Throttle Sim Racing Truck Series and approaching lap 100. Jason, I'll tell you something else as well, bud. Pit stop laps were last on lap 57. I think the pit window's about to open up within the next 10 laps or less.
Yeah, it's definitely going to open up here by the time they hit lap 100 probably, because that will be about 45 laps or so after they last pitted, which was at lap 57. So we're going to have that pit window open here pretty shortly, and you're going to see guys come down. I wouldn't be surprised if you see other drivers, back here, try to obviously make that move down to pit road to try and create that undercut that we always talk about. Maybe somebody like Michael Blackner, Brian Bliss, maybe even Robert Milikian, who was up there currently sitting in the 9th spot, but he was up battling for the lead at one point, Wesley, and now he's kind of just really fizzled out there in the 9th position, just inside the top 10 barely. So varying strategies are what we're probably going to see here coming up shortly.
Another lap on the board as they come back to the stripe. Obviously, Mullins in that top spot. We're picking up now some racing going on in the back of the top 10. Brian Bliss, Michael Blackner, Chevrolet and Ford, Bowtie and Oval going at it as they go to the back stretch right now. Things calm in the front. Try to see if these guys in the back of the top 10 can start to rally in the late run going of stage 3 to get there to make a run for the victory out 4.
Heads up to Chris Custer, too, in the number 66 machine. You see him right back there. Just was able to pass Colby Mice. Chris was in the back earlier in this race, got involved in an incident, got involved in a couple incidents, actually. Now finds himself sitting in that 12th position in the Tide Ride, is what they used to call it. They still call it here to this day. Sits in 12th, up 2 spots from where he started. Great recovery for the driver, the number 66 machine, obviously making what would be, like we talked about here, his 3rd start of the season. So great comeback for the number 66 machine. We'll see what he's got here for the remainder. Only a few drivers right now out of this race, actually, and that would only be 2. It's Wayne Grossi in the number 7 machine. Rick Webb also in the 54, both of them 15 and 46 laps down, as James Mullins still has the lead right now over Brody Hanna by about 3/4 of a second. But look at Cody McKinney. He wants that 3rd spot here, Wesley, from Ryan Chapman.
Cody Allen McKinney, winner at Martinsville in a caution-filled race. Obviously, last Wednesday night, he has put himself in the catbird seat for the podium. He's got his sights on Chapman for 3rd. Hannah Mullins, they all stay single file up against the safer barrier. Drops down to the bottom of the racetrack, and nobody can get him yet as they work off 4.
Bartel nearly just washed up right there into J.P. Burns. Had to get out of it big time entering turns 3 and 4. And he falls back to the front bumper of Kyle Milliken, who puts him under fire in the Martin Sports machine there entering turn number 1. But while James Mullins continues to pull away, Brody Hanna is struggling to defend 2nd from Chapman and McKinney, and Burns as well coming up into the mix.
Back to the inside. Here comes Hanna now. Hanna, plenty of room given behind Chapman. Chapman now locks to the inside of the racetrack. Now they climb up to the middle lane from the bottom to the top, back to the bottom, back to the top. Again, and they're in the grass. Oh, hold on there, Hanna. And that's actually Chapman. Hanna comes through with the lead to 2nd. Mullins is going to pull away from these guys and open up a 2nd lead for 2nd on back.
And here comes
Holy
McKinney
moly.
to the and McKinney goes to the bottom, and I will say, Wesley, Ryan Chapman closed up a lap ago on Brody Hanna, exiting 3 and 4 a ton. And on corner exit, Hanna got loose. Chapman went to the outside, and then he said, I'm going to pull the crossover move, went to the bottom, and then Brody just threw, honestly, a really bad block going through, and they both went into the grass. Obviously not something you want to see, but hey, no harm, no foul. They're still able to keep on running. One's still 3rd, one's still 4th. So at the end of it, it's not really that bad, but at this stage in the race, you've got to be careful with moves like that. We've seen too many moves at Texas where you try to block going to that tri-oval, you end up in the grass because of your depth perception and the way that your vision is. The next thing you know, you're going through the grass spinning and can create a wreck.
No, you're exactly right. It's right now they work their way across the corner again. Mullins in the lead. All of that crazy racing we just saw a moment ago with the virtual pass in the grass for Chapman and more fighting to stay. And by the way, props to both of those guys. All 3 of those guys, Jason, they could have took each other out. They backed off. They got off the throttle, gave each other plenty of room, let the 27 to Chapman correct. And obviously McKinney now up 2 spots. He was in 4th. He's up now to 2nd. Got to try to run down the leader, Mullins. But again, I don't think they're rushing to run him down. They know they got green flag pit stops coming up unless we get a caution.
Yeah, well, the only thing is, though, obviously, is they want to make up as much time as they can on him, because the quicker they get to pit road, or even just the quicker that James Mullins gets to pit road, obviously that would mean that they're going to either A, closing that gap, or if Mullins pits before them, he's going to probably extend that gap because tire life is so valuable here. You look at the best lap time from your leader, James Mullins, 29.659. James Mullins last time around 30.706, so over a second of fall off. So those tires could mean a second. And if Cody McKinney were to pit a lap or 2 before Mullins, he's easily going to take the lead. If he pits a lap sooner, he's going to gain probably a second, close it into under half a second. If he pits 2 laps before James Mullins does, then obviously he's going to obtain the race lead. So you do the math. I was never really good at that back in school. So obviously, but I try the best I can. But so we're going to see green flag pit stops coming up here pretty shortly. Like we mentioned, Wesley, you see McKinney working to the inside of Lewis Meglin, who's a few laps down. But that gap is a second and 6/10 right now from Mullins back to McKinney.
And Jason Meyer, reiterate on something else as well. Green flag pit stops have begun. Marshall Johnson going to try to go for the undercut. He's already in the back in the top 20. Try to see if he can put this Toyota at an advantage. But let me also clarify on something as well. We're approaching lap 100. What I said in stage 2. Let's get to lap 100. If I was one of your crew members right now, or your spotters or crew chiefs, I would tell these guys, let's get to lap 100. Let's get these green flag pit stop way, which is quickly approaching. After that, drive your you-know-what off. It's time to power to the front and show how good your truck can be at the end.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, too. And once you see these green flag pit stops start to happen here, as you saw the 9 start the cycle really in the back, but we haven't seen the cycle completely start yet. Once you see one of these guys inside the top 5 to 10 pit, that's when the door is going to be opened completely, and then you'll have everybody coming down, obviously, like the dinner table has just been set. So we're going to find out here pretty shortly to see who will be that first taker coming onto pit road this time by coming around. We're going to be on lap 100. There's going to be 35 to go right now, so we're at lap 100. Pit stops will begin here pretty soon. Mullins still faster than McKinney. He gained 2/10 the last few laps. What will McKinney do, or what will Chapman do about it here as they work down the back?
It's go time right now, and obviously we're going to see. And my question is this, Jason. Do you wait for Mullins because he's, 2 seconds, almost 2 seconds ahead of McKinney Chapman? Wait for him to peel in? Do you follow him, monkey see, monkey do? Or do you literally bypass him, try to get a lap or more over him while he makes his pit stop to let him be out by himself? That's another question, that strategy you got to think about.
If he pits this time by, you have to pit. And if you don't have the time to pit or react, then pit next time around for sure. But obviously, if I'm these guys back in second on back, you have to pit before he does. Because obviously, like I had mentioned, those newer tires are a second and 2/10 faster than everybody. And here comes Michael Blackner. He's in this time by now. Wasn't exactly in the top 10, but he's now coming to the pits. So that door is starting to get off the hinges right now before it's completely swung wide open. We're going to see him here shortly, but if you're a guy behind Mullins, you got to pit before he does so you can make up that time.
Green flag pit stops, and they have started, no doubt. Look at now, obviously, the man here, Blackner in the double deuce. The Red Bull entry ready to power to the front. As right now we see more men coming down in the back to pit. The front runners have yet to do it. And by the way, this time by 32 laps to go when they come to the stripe.
Man, James Mullins is just really putting on a great show for himself in general, and everybody else behind him is just wondering what do they got to do. But obviously they have those pit stops coming up. James has gained now a second on Cody McKinney. The gap is 2.5 seconds from McKinney back to Mullins, or McKinney on forward to Mullins. Pit stops are going to be there's no way these guys go to lap 110 before pitting. I cannot see that. Here comes J.P. Burns working to the bottom now of Brody Hanna. That's the battle going on for the 5th spot inside the top 5. We'll see. Will we see any takers come this time by? Doesn't look like it. We got some guys staying out, obviously. Here comes Robert Milicki, and he pits from the top 10. So that hinge is pretty much gone, and the door is about to fly open. Robert Milicki in the first real competitive truck inside the top 10 finally gives up his spot to come down pit road this time. So is Chris Custer. He's in as well.
The MS Martin Sports Toyota 16 in. Custer also in. Had a caution earlier in the race. These guys were in the top 15. They're now coming onto pit road. I predict any moment now, Mullins, McKinney, Chapman, Milliken, Hanna, and more will all come on. Right now, stay on track at lap 105.
And they're all going to stay on track right now. Very interesting to see. If you're Cody McKinney, I would be pitting probably this time by, no doubt about it. But we'll see what he does here as you see Burns and Hanna still battle for position going into 3 and 4 this time, and doesn't look like McKinney's slowing down any soon. Here comes James Mullins. He's made his way down pit road, and with that being said, the door has been flung wide open. off the hinges, doesn't even exist anymore. It's in the wood shredder, and Mullins makes his way down pit road. And you can only imagine here, Wesley, that McKinney, Chapman, Milliken, all of these guys are going to have to come down pit road, as Mullins also brings Bliss, Duranko, and Mice down pit road.
With that extra lap, obviously behind when Mullins pitted. So you better definitely Milliken, Hannah Burns, McKinney, be thinking about it, and here they come. Here they come. McKinney, I knew it was coming. You said it.
Yeah. McKinney, Chapman, Bartel, Joey McKinney, all in this time by. They can only imagine that Milliken, Hannah, Burns, Solari, and Tony Solari, who we haven't talked about all night long, trying to see what he can do here. Haven't seen him inside the top 10, maybe even the top 15 all night long. Finds himself in fourth. Jake Euler, the same could be said for him, was battling the top 15 earlier. They're all in pit road. Now the question's going to be is where is the 60 of James Mullins? Where is Cody McKinney going to fall out in all of this right now? Mullins has picked off Cody McKinney and Ryan Chapman, so he has got that gap. He has now put on more than 3 seconds over the rest of them as everybody else coming down pit road. Euler, Hannah, Milliken still staying out on the racetrack though.
Well, can't believe it. And obviously, they're just putting themselves in a, can you say, Jason, a deeper hole? I mean, you know, you'd think they'd come in. They're not. And they're really losing ground. Hannah's on pit road down. Here comes Brody Hannah, as we mentioned. But the guys like Milliken and others, Jake Ollier, I mean, you'd think they'd come into pit. I mean, why? Why not?
Yeah, the gap from Mullins to Blackner right now is 4 seconds. So, I mean, Michael Blackner, it just goes to show you, Wesley, that pitting earlier meant something, because Michael Blackner was inside the top 10, or at least like a tad or two outside of it. He made up so much ground on those newer tires that now when this all cycles through, he's going to end up third or fourth. So he has gained a ton of positions. I mean, these guys practically, if this race goes green and all goes according to plan for James Mullins, these guys pretty much probably handed him this win here, as obviously he is going to pick up the race lead here now. Green flag pit cycle will be complete with Milliken and Euler finally coming in. Kyle Milliken, we'll see what he can do, as he's the last car to come down pit road. But now it's official. So since it's a cycle through, Mullins, Chapman, gap is 5.5 seconds. They've pretty much handed James Mullins this lead.
McKinney putting himself in the catbird seat as it cycles back around with Mullins in the lead. Remember, Mullins has won all stages here at Texas in the Lone Star 200. And now when the payout window is about to open here in less than 20 laps or over 20 laps to go, he has put himself strategy-wise pitting ahead of the rest of the leaders, cycling back around as the leader, and he's got a 5-second lead over Chapman. McKinney, they're right there with one another. Jason, can they run down the 60? Do they got enough time?
Yeah, they might have enough time here. We're going to have to see. And I'm just not too sure, honestly, Wesley, that they're going to be able to catch James Mullins with how strong he was on that long run portion there right before the green flag pit cycle. I don't know. And if Mullins does win tonight, this is going to be his 4th win of the season. Only 3 drivers have won so far this season. That was obviously McKinney last week at Martinsville, James Mullins, like we just mentioned, and Brody Hannah. Only 3 drivers have so far won so far out of 8 of 13 races in the 2024 A season. That's just incredible. Absolutely incredible to only see that 3 drivers have really been, to really show this much competition. And if you think about all the cautions, Wesley, last week, Cody McKinney, had we gone to a normal racetrack, I mean, he might not even be the winner if that wasn't Martinsville. But, and I'm not saying that's no jab at Cody McKinney. He is by far one of the more decorated drivers in this field. But it just amazes me at the speed that this 60, the 23, and obviously the 28 have had all season.
Coming down to the end of it. 20, laps to go as Mullins comes storming off of turn 4 down to the tri-oval, leading at the dog leg. Ready in that number 60 machine, 19 remaining, and obviously if there's any help for the people on back in second, third, fourth, he is fighting some traffic. Take advantage of it. Try to hook up, run him down. They're in his view.
Yeah, and obviously you see Cody McKinney trying to get around Ryan Chapman, and this is great for Ryan Chapman. But here's a funny story for you, Wesley, that's really interesting to note, because a few weeks ago we were talking to, obviously, you know, if you're a motorsports driver, and admin Brody Hanna, who was talking about the points battle and how Ryan's gap was getting more and more narrow as the weeks went on because of how good James Mullins has put his season together. Now, would you believe to say Ryan Chapman is the one who got James Mullins in? And now he's battling him for the championship for this portion of the season.
$17 to go at the line. Mullins in the lead. Behind them, Chapman, McKinney. Malikian, and here comes now. Boy, here comes now the 28. McKinney trying to go after Chapman for that second spot. Winner last week at Martinsville. Gets the clear before he works off 4 in the dog leg, and he got around for second.
Yeah, McKinney able to hold that position there as they come through the tri-oval. You see Robert Malikian elected to pit a little bit earlier, and now he finds himself right there in that 4th spot. Doing a great job, was just barely inside the top 10 when he made the option to come down to pit road, but now he finds himself sitting there in that 3rd spot. So doing a great job, maintaining, coming back obviously, and doing a great job. As you see Ryan Chapman try to work around Cody McKinney now for the 2nd position once more.
Mullins in the lead. 15. Now make it 14 to go when they come to the line. What a job for the number 60. He swept stage 1, got back around to fight to win stage 2, Jason. That wasn't easy, but now when it counts the most and the payout window is about to open, Mullins, James Mullins, the Chevrolet number 60 gone. And while that goes on, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, they can't get out of their own way. And this is great for the leader.
Yeah, this is really great racing here back here. Kyle Milliken, also best lap of the race with those fresher tires a little bit, 29.512, and he's running 2 to 3 tenths faster than the entire field, sitting there 7 3/4 of a second back from your race leader. Not going to be a factor, but Wesley, there's always that opportunity to obviously have a final caution here late in this race. 13 laps to go. Not too sure if we're going to have one, but it's a possibility here. We've had a long green flag run, 2 long green flag runs actually, and it's been really interesting to see, but the opportunity to have that late race yellow is looming right there in the distance, and James Mullins would want nothing more than to come home with this race win and not see a caution here.
No, you're exactly right. And obviously, that is not what needs to happen if you're the leader. Behind them on back, you're praying. You're wanting to throw your virtual something out the window to try to draw a caution. You want Barney to fall over the flag stand, right? I mean, you want anything to happen to have a caution come out as these guys are going door to door. Blackner in the 3, side by side. That's Bliss out inside the top 10. This is getting kind of antsy as they come to the stripe as Blackner gets around Bliss at the line. 10 to go here in Texas.
Yeah, there'll be 10 to go here this time by. Coming around, James Mullins still leading. And remember, coming into tonight, only 47 points back of Ryan Chapman. He picked up the 2 stage wins. He's going to pick up this win if he can hang on to it here, and that is going to decrease the point gap from Chapman back to him significantly. But Cody McKinney has been really strong all night long as well in that number 28 machine, doing everything he can to make sure he stays in the fight. And Brody Hanna, 52 points back as well here. still trying his hardest. Sitting back there in the 8th position, he has been no slouch tonight either. It just goes to show you, Wesley, that Chapman, McKinney, Mullins, Hanna, despite all being their own drivers, they have their own traits, but man, they have been really, really strong all season long.
And by the way, for NASCAR National Series, we'll pitch it at No Limits Texas Motor Speedway this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all 3 series. Trucks on Friday, Xfinity Saturday, Cup practice qualifying as well, and of course, the Auto Park Texas Lone Star 400. They're not running 500 miles anymore, 400 miles at Texas this upcoming weekend. Virtual Texas is where we are tonight, and closing on the end of it, Mullins looking for another win in the series if he can hold on. 8 to go.
8 laps to go, and that gap is at 5.1 seconds, all the 5.3 seconds from Mullins. You see him now working off turn number 4. Chapman still battling with Cody McKinney for the podium spot. Robert Milikian, those tires starting to fade away just a little bit. That's the cost you're going to have to pay if you pit earlier. The same could be said for Kyle Milliken, rather. But obviously Michael Blackner pitted about 5, 6, 7 laps earlier. He fell back from 4th all the way back to 11th. Great battle going on here. Alan Duranco, Tony Solari, Colby Mice, they work into turn number 1. Solari works to the inside as Mice might think about going 3 wide here down on the back straightaway, and he will.
3 blind mice, if you will, if Mice tries to go for it as they go 3 wide in the corner. Mice on the inside, man in the middle, Solari up top. Watching Duranco, they break apart to the line. Great piece of driving by those guys to go 3 wide in the corner and stick it the way that they did.
Yeah, and you saw the 8 of Colby Mice kind of backed out of it a little bit. Oh, contact made. The 11 of Solari gets up and into the door of Alan Duranco, nearly comes down into the front right front fender of Colby Mice there as they came off corner exit off 2. Great recovery by all 3 of those drivers to not wreck and cause a late race caution here with 5 laps to go. Solari goes back to 15th now. He'll battle with Mice. Duranco wants to set sail and make sure he can keep that 14th position. As you look at Brody Hanna now battling with TJ Bartel and also trying to catch JP Burns. That's the battle going on for 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Closing in on the finish now. Under 6 miles remain. Mullins, Chapman, McKinney, Milliken, top 5. There you see Bartel trying to get to the birthday boy tomorrow. Hanna, he tries to go after Burns for that spot as they work off 2 in the back of the top 5.
Everybody single file, just trying to ride around and make sure they can finish. All the meanwhile still trying to battle and pick up as many points as they can, like you see Brody Hanna trying to do. He closes up to the rear bumper of Burns, works up to the outside. Not enough momentum off the corner with 3 laps to go, trying to make sure he can get into that 6th position. They work back into turn number 1, still close on the rear tailgate. He closes up to the bumper off 2.
Backstretch, there you see now the man in 2nd, Chapman. They have cut the interval by nothing. I say that sarcastically because Mullins has still been able to hold that ground. Okay, they might have got about a 10th or a 3rd of a second, but not by much, Jason. It is 5.5 seconds back by McKinney Milliken, 5.3 seconds back for Chapman, and it is Mullins' race to lose, as right now he is hitting his marks in that Chevrolet number 60, coming off turn number 4. He's about to see the white flag at No Limits, Texas.
White flag is in the air for the driver of the number 60, presented by CRN. 1 to go. It's wearecrn.com. And James Mullins was bouncing around from 1st, 5th, all the way pretty much to 10th in the first 2 stages of the race, but was able to pick up not only stage 1, but also picked up stage 2. Made it a total of 6 stage wins on the season. Tonight, he's going to make it 4 wins on this season. James Mullins wins the Texas 200 here in the Lone Star State over Ryan Chapman and Cody McKinney. Great, great piece of driving from James Mullins.
By the way, Jason, flag the flag, stage number 3. No cautions whatsoever. Amazing.
Yeah, and it just goes to show you too that these guys mean business here late in the going in these races. And I think, Wesley, this is probably what we all expected to see, was that long green flag run. We saw how hard everybody could run on those fresh Goodyear Eagles, but once the tires wore out, once we had the green flag cycle, you just knew this kind of product was going to happen. And obviously, James Mullins pulled it at the best point, pulled the trigger at the greatest time he could, pitted way before anybody behind him could, and ultimately would probably won him this race.
Celebration, excuse me, celebration going on for the Top Hand Foundation, number 60 Chevrolet core entry. James Mullins is going to burn it down at Virtual No Limits Texas. He gets it done here tonight for round 9 of the SimRacingPoints.com Full Throttle Sim Racing Truck Series. And Jason, there's a look at the results. And again, the pit stops, he never lost ground on the guys behind him. They couldn't catch him when it was over.
Yeah, couldn't catch him indeed. You see the gap right there, 5.5 seconds back to Ryan Chapman. Cody McKinney comes home P3, so the top 3 all battling in the top 3 in points, which is just absolutely insane if you think about it. Kyle Milliken, great strategy for the driver of the number 42 machine. Just needed a caution to maybe try to see what he could do, comes home 4th. Robert Milliken, another great finish at Texas tonight. JP Burns, Brody Hanna, TJ Bartel. Look at this. Great comeback for James Torrey there in 10th, along with Ryan Bliss in 9th. Great recovery for those 2 drivers. That's your top 10.
Michael Blackner, Chris Custer, Marshall Johnson, Alan Duranco, Tony Solari, top 15. Colby Mice is the last man on the lead lap. What a great battle they had. They're battling for 3 wide at the end. Highly entertaining. Everyone else a lap down or more out of the race, including Derek Cap, Jake Collier, Joey McKinney, Lewis Meglin, top 20. Rest of the finishing order, including Rick Webb and Wayne Grassi. And Jason, one more time, a look at also the Virginia 811 race summary, as you've got that for us here when it's all said and done. Low-key cautions tonight, no doubt, to close it out.
Yeah, 5 cautions compared to what was probably double or triple the amount last week in Martinsville. Only 19 caution laps out of 134 ran. 22 lead changes at Texas. Awesome to see. Some of those were during the green flag cycle of pit stops, but a majority of those actually came out on the racetrack. So always cool to see there. With that being said, we're going to take a quick break, wrangle up our top 3 here in the Lone Star State. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to No Limits Texas, as Mr. Wesley Outland calls it. I believe he's the only person I know that says that, but obviously it's
on the wall.
Oh, I know it's on the wall, but it's not No Limits Texas Speedway. They call it Texas Motor Speedway. But anyways, all jokes aside, top 3 finishers, James Mullins, Ryan Chapman, Cody McKinney. Not able to get Cody McKinney for the time being. We'll see if he jumps in here later on. But obviously, we'll head over to the second place driver, Ryan Chapman. Ryan, great run for you tonight, man. I was just joking with you. You broke that top 10 streak last week with 8 for 8. But hey, 8 for 9. That can't be too bad with top 10s, but you still come home second.
Yeah, it was a good night overall. Made a switch over the past week on setups, so tried something out of the box and it worked.
I'll tell you what, for sure, man. Strategy at its finest. I had to kind of fight for that second stage win, but Bud, what was it like there, just racing there as you could to get to the end of this thing? And obviously, got to be excited to get a win moving into the closer rounds of the playoffs, isn't it?
Well, I didn't get the win. James did, but
I'm sorry. Damn it. I normally interview the winner first. I didn't realize we were interviewing the other guy. Ryan, I'm sorry. Ryan, there you go. Obviously, the strategy, if you could go back and do it again, would you have pitted whenever Mullins did to try to go after him to be within his crosshairs at the pit stop? Sorry about that. I'm normally used to interviewing the winner first.
No, you're good, man. Yeah, me and James were just talking about that. I thought maybe I could put down a faster lap and just try to close the gap a little bit, but sadly James had a roll going, so I needed to pit sooner. But overall, it was a fun race. I had a fun time battling with Cody back and forth. Hopefully we'll put on a show for you guys, because that was really fun. I've never sweated so much during a race in my life. I was holding on for dear life. But yeah.
Yeah, man, it was definitely fun to see you out there. But Ryan, with that being said, man, second place tonight. Who do you got to thank for this awesome run here tonight in the Lone Star State?
I got to thank James for help for building the set, and Elliott Sadler Esports, which I jumped over to run for them now for setups and Road to Pro. So all their help over there, especially my elevated guys too, for helping me keep my head in the game as always. All of our sponsors, Victory Fuel, Nerditudes, Martin Sports, Elevated Outdoors, and everyone else that just works with us and helps us promote Elevated. And you guys obviously for putting this on, and Brody for having the league and everything. But yeah, and everyone for watching. I know my dad's watching, my friend Zach's watching, and my mom's probably watching. So thank you all for tuning in, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the show.
We definitely did there. That's Ryan Chapman coming home P2. And now we'll head over to Victory Lane with a race winner, James Mullins, presented by Victory Fuel. Remember, if you go to drinkvictory.com, use checkout code KOI19. We'll see Richie Coy back at Darlington here in just a few weeks for the Wednesday series. If you use code KOI19 at checkout, you get 10% off your order. James swept the stages, man. I mean, execution. That's really all you could say. It was perfect.
Yeah, lucky, man. Lucky. I've been on the service for a long time, man. 12, 13 years. Put a lot of time in. And, you know, I've just experience kills a lot of people in this sim sometimes, you know, and I've just been at it a long time to do my own stuff.
I was going to say that as well, James. We've known each other. I've called many of your iRaces over the years, bud. Man, still got that winning edge. Now, Mr. Engineer, can you go back and hit rewind to the question I asked when I was asking Chapman instead? It was for Mullins. No. Obviously, you had to fight to win stage number 2. What was the strategy of course, just kind of making it through this third stage? And, man, definitely a big turnaround from the Wreck Fest from Martinsville last week for sure, wasn't it?
Yeah, we want to put Martinsville behind us. That was not very fun. It was miserable, and I had to be miserable to watch. But I mean, I appreciate everybody in this league and everybody, you know, behind the scenes. Appreciate you guys. But the second stage, you know, I could race a whole lot harder, but I mean, the draft's so strong. You really didn't have to. You can really save a lot of tires. So I just let them race the hell of theirself for about 7-8 laps, and I go right back at it.
Yeah, and it definitely was cool to see you use that tire management to your ability, where we talked about that was going to be a big factor. But James, man, we're going to let you celebrate. Obviously, that would be your 4th win of the season. Who do you got to thank for this awesome victory here tonight?
Well, I just got to thank all the boys over at LSRTV Esports, all them guys. You know, we got a great group of guys. We put some work in. Like I said, we've added Ryan Chapman, you know, and a few others were to the C Open program and Road to Pro program. So it's been an exciting week over there. Also, got to give a shout out to my boy Sean Selvage and the Pickup Boys. I couldn't do it without them. We do the Lord's work. We're out there baptizing them one at a time. That's what we do. And that's about it. And you guys, want to thank you guys and Brody. It was a great race. I had a lot of fun tonight, guys.
Well, there you go. You heard it from himself. James Mullins picking up his 4th win of the season, trying to close in on Ryan Chapman for the points lead here with just a few races remaining. Wesley, great racing action all along here tonight for these trucks, man. It just seems like the trucks always put on such a good show with obviously this kind of aerodynamic package that they have. So definitely was an awesome race to watch. Strategy played a factor there in the end as well.
It was a great show. A lot of more give and take on the racetrack than what I think we saw for sure. Fun times, definitely. Always enjoy being able to call the Full Throttle Sim Racing Series with you whenever I can on LSR TV, Jason, and we'll get ready for next week.
It's going to be awesome to see. And with that being said, we're going to close out tonight's broadcast. Want to give a thank you to FTSR for allowing us to do this. Everybody from LSR TV, Jeff Stabnow, Charles Wooten, Wesley Outland, Victory Fuel for coming on board. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Good night. Jason Rockfeld signing out from Texas.